incest marriages, such as first cousins, are wrong. Further to that, it should not be practiced anymore. Agree or disagree? Ooh, okay. Agree, 3 in the middle.
Okay,
To
can I
disagree.
just say, incest marriages are wrong and it should not be practiced anymore. I'm on the fence with the fact that it is fully wrong. I don't think it's fully wrong because there's reasonings why people used to do it, and I think some of the reasonings behind it, it is kind of...
You're saying used,
justified.
which is in the past tense.
Yeah, and that's why I say now, I mean, we should not be practicing anymore. Because right now, those same reasonings do not apply in Oiliko society, in Oiliko generation. My understanding of it is that they did it because by that name, like up in the mountains or hills, and then people didn't need to know each other. It's a safer option for the woman, so great. However, if we took it on Oiliko day and age, women have equal rights. And suddenly there's like enforced laws like rape and stuff. They want a million or so, like women can speak up. So mainly they just wanted it to be safer for their daughters. So now Afnoi, so
So what is inherently wrong with it?
So what is wrong with it?
Yes, the risks are not
so
there.
Like genetic, like, isn't it really bad? Like genetic wise, there could be like mutational.
Okay, but
I'm not science, but
so that's where I think we need to clarify, because this just says marriage, yeah.
Okay.
Because that only applies if you're having kids.
Okay.
So I guess it depends. Like, do people get married and not want kids?
Okay.
Because marriage is there. I
didn't think of it that
deep,
way.
Okay, you went deep.
Because I think inherently there's nothing wrong with getting married because, well, there's nothing inherently wrong between any two people to get married. Yeah,
okay.
I think. Okay. Because if both are sane enough, they have a sane mind and they can make informed decisions, then really, and they give consent, so what is the problem?
Yeah.
As long as they don't have a kid, it does, like you said, congenial defects recessive genes are there's more likely era parent recessive genes are not. That parent marries someone who is their sibling, first cousin, and then that person is also likely to carry the same recessive gene, and when they
are both carriers.
Yeah, when they're both carriers, there's a higher chance. It's not certain, but there's a higher chance. So, and when you involve a kid, you're talking now from a third person as well. Yeah, so you have to think about from the child's perspective as well and its well-being. So I think that does. So therefore, I think it's wrong maybe to have like incestual like offsprings, but marriage, I'm not too sure.
So you're saying marriage is not related with giving birth, basically.
I think in principle it doesn't have to. So if we are making that connection, then I would say that's wrong as well.
Well, I think most people would disagree to that. I think the whole point of, well, not I think most people would see being married is to reproduce, to all that stuff. This is not my personal opinion. I think that's how people see it. I think.
But hold on. But in principle, it can be separated enough because there are.
It can be separated. I see that. I see your point.
Yeah, there are married couples who don't have kids, or they choose to adopt. So people get married for all sorts of reasons. Yes, you're right that the majority of them they do get married to have kids, maybe. So I guess we need to clarify that further. I think. Mere point say yes if they want to have kids and if that's why they're getting married, then it's wrong.
Very interesting.
Do you know what? After you say that,
think
I
about
fully disagree with that statement.
I did not even think of it that way.
I didn't think about because actually, if you don't want to, then
in a
why
relationship,
not, right? Yeah, I mean, I've got to process that now.
Yeah, I can process it too.
Process it. And why do you guys agree? These on them things.
I agree because it's not what I've known to be right all my life. Our limbo go and I think we follow Tinda generation go gap.
5 actually.
Is it 5?
Used to be 5.
Ew.
No,
I think it does go back to the genetic stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a risk, I think, in the future for the kid. The quality of life of the kid is going to be whatever. I think after parallel to the rest of the significant portion. Tara yo male right when go garden zai kyo mane all from my own personal perspective and opinion. One is wrong in like so.
But I don't necessarily agree that just because you've always thought something to be true, it makes it true for virtue.
Yeah, त्यही भएर मैले भनेको मेरो लागि चाहिँ त्यो जहिले पनि त्यो wrong नै हुन्छ.
Personally, for me, I've never known anybody that had on the incestuous marriages or so it's very hard for me to make a judgment. But from my upbringing, I've always been taught that it's wrong. Science classes are, you know, you shouldn't be marrying your own. But the sister cousins are because genetically it's unfavorable. Ani B, my papa's always told me Hamro at least 7 generations going to person when you marry somebody, so you have to look into Hamro family tree. So yeah, it's even okay. And then C, it's because the reasonings that I hear. I don't know if it's true or not. Why people do it in Nepalese society, I think it's wrong. So. From what I understand, some people do it because they want to keep sampati within their own family, so keep their wealth, keep their assets. So if you get your cousins to marry each other, you always keep that within your family.
I see, okay.
And it won't be released. These are all things that I've heard and been taught. I don't know if this is true. So
Momani agree. I think. Majority of point. Sorry, not point. Well, it's mostly I'm just bouncing off you guys. Yeah, no, that's because everyone like majority I share the same okay. But yeah, the reason why I think incestuous marriage are wrong is the way I have been brought where how I've seen society and my upbringing, my education, my everything, my environment, and that tells me that incestuous marriage is not favorable.
I'd like to add to that, like people who you're related with. I mean, I can't imagine being intimate with them.
So let's say you didn't even know this person, and then you realize your cousin's body.
But I think the difference is because you were brought up to know your cousins and your cousins enough.
Yeah.
In tribes that they do your mama, people, they don't know them each other as cousins. Yeah. They use a different context, so the relationship is already different. So that's my understanding of it. I'm not saying I would. I'm not saying momero like now. I just was like it. It's like mero mama ko chora sanga. It to me it sounds really wrong, but because when I was brought up, I've known him as a bhai. But if I was brought up to see this guy as a guy, maybe I would have different thoughts. Like when so if you put yourself in any situation and you have to choose between your cousin or your friend, you would family over anything, right? In most scenarios,
for certain things, not romances.
Okay, not romances, but if you had to like, I don't know, like anything but romance situation, if you had to help someone out, you would be family over friend. So maybe we can all agree that it is an advantage. Love increase.
If you look at,
I'm trying to see I think it's a positive.
I think you hit the nail on the head that we're saying that to practice on a society or romance, that's known.
Yeah, but we can still say, even if it's a norm in those societies, we can still say it's wrong if they're having kids. Because
scientifically.
Yeah, because there's a reason why it's outlawed in so many countries nowadays, and they found like higher rates of the defects. And if it can be avoided, I think like we should. Because as soon as a child is involved, it's no longer between those two people. If we go to why people do it, I think I agree with you guys. I think it is about solidifying power and wealth and not keeping within the family and things like that, keeping the blood pure and all those things. But I don't think that still justifies like
practicing it forward.
Yeah.
Into the future.
To have like taking the risk of giving birth to misunderstood children.
I think growing up, middle parents have always been aware that obviously you don't know all your family members at all. So Mero Mom Baba always tried really hard to make sure introduce Gonanda to all of our cousins so that these things would never happen. So you don't fall in love with your cousin. I don't know, you bring somebody and you're like, so my parents have always taught me that, I need to know my family members so that I think underliningly these sort of things don't happen.
Why was it just not marry a Rai?
Might as well not marry a Rai,
Someone else.
but they still want Rai, so
It's just easier.
If two cousins are like just like madly in love,
Get
I
married.
agree with them, Hukum, as long as they don't have children, then
as long as they don't have.
पछि अनि त्यो आउनु सक्छ नि त इच्छा
Adopt
We're talking about
no?
principles.
principally,
yeah.
Because I'm sure you want
Have
a
to be, of
child
course.
and you would hopefully want that child to be nice and healthy. You know?
Yeah.
So
But
if
sometimes
if there's
women
a
want
risk-
their own. Sometimes they don't want to adopt. Sometimes they want their own.
and men.
There is
And
a
but
risk.
yeah.
There is a
Yes,
risk.
and
in
men.
that.
So I think के अरे statements we can look at it like in its purest form, and then you can add on more circumstances, more variables in it, and then that can then change whether it's right or wrong. So similarly, I think like marriage is not the pure form. I don't think there's anything wrong. And I'm sure you would agree. But as soon as you say, oh, they would want to have kids, blah blah blah, then that's additional variables, additional information, which then can sway like whether it's right or wrong. For me,
मलाई चाहिँ एउटा कुरा के एड गर्नु मन लागेको थियो भने लाइक त मेरो त दिदी पनि छैन नि त अनि भाइटिका लाउनु पर्दाखेरि अब मेरो फुपूको छोरी पनि म दिदी नै भन्छु लगाइदिन्छ क्या अनि आई जस्ट बिकज भाइटिका लगाइदिइसकेपछि त आफ्नै दिदी बराबर हो नि त होइन आई डोन्ट नो यो के भन्छ इस्लामिक म्यारेज प्र्याक्टिस गर्नेहरूले आई डोन्ट नो इफ दे डु भाइटिका विथ देयर कजन्स त्यो चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति त्यो त्यताबाट हेर्दाखेरि पनि अलिकति अप्ठ्यारो लाग्यो मलाई चाहिँ पर्सनली कसरी आफ्नै दिदीसँग बे गर्नु
Yeah.
It's something
They don't do
that was a thought that was
Once
in
you
my mind.
middle school, I think everybody knows. Once you like bite alliance, and that's it. Okay? When it comes to
romance.
You know,
त्यही त
I know
भनेको मैले
उनीहरूले भाइ दिदी नै भन्दैन नि त उनीहरूले त लाइक
Salty.
सोल्टी भन्छ नि त कुन उयो नेपाली ट्राइब्सहरूमा अनि आई थिङ्क आफ्नै होला त्यो चाहिँ मलाई थाहा छैन बट दे डोन्ट से भाइ दिदी उनीहरूले सोल्टी भन्छ सो लाइक मेरो सो इफ यु वर माई मामाको छोरा मैले तिमीलाई दाइ कि भाइ भन्दिनँ म तिमीलाई सोल्टी भन्थेँ क्या अनि हाम्रो कल्चरमा त सोल्टी त लाइक दिदी कि दाइको बिहा गरेको म्याचको उयो हो नि त होइन उनीहरूकोमा चाहिँ यो आमाको अफस्प्रिङ कि फिमेलको अफस्प्रिङहरूलाई चाहिँ सोल्टी
अन्त म त्यही भनेको so if I was that person होइन and मेरो दिदी बहिनी can I get Vaitika from
so I don't think so because if they're not calling you bhai or dai and they're calling you solti how does that I think so I don't quote me on that but I normally put Vaitika on people who are called
Just a clarification, they don't.
okay
they don't.
They don't. Yeah.
What if there is there are brother and sister, whatever now, let's say, and they decide to have kids, but let's say we know for a fact that we don't see any signs of any congenital defects. What would that be wrong? Or let's say even in like hypothetically that kid is going to be as healthy as anybody. Would
What
that
are the
be
chances
wrong?
of that? How do you know that?
No, but hypothetically, if you could be certain.
But that's hypothetical. That's not reality.
The reason why I want to go into hypothetics is hypothetics. Is that the right word?
hypothetically
Is because you can then, disregard all the distractions, or all the unnecessary variables for now. Like just to understand your pure reasoning for why you are against incestuous reproduction.
Yeah, I think
Is
it's
it
just
because that?
this ingrainment in me that Miro bhai is my well, I don't have a bhai, but Miro boyni is my boyni. That relationship is so different to romantic relationship with somebody else. You develop these relationships, the more you grow older together.
so
No, but that's now a different reasoning because before you said the baby might be disabled.
So let's say you said that the baby's not disabled, hypothetically the baby's all right. To me, I would just never be able to see my brother as
You would never be able to see it, but if there was someone
else
out there
who could
who
would you
wanted
say
to do it, what would you say? What do you think that's right in principle? Like, why would it be wrong? If it's not right, why would it be wrong?
it's still wrong to me
It's taboo because
in my
it's
perspective.
just not the norm I've been brought up in. So
But norm mother argument like the gender there's so many norms and women are the yoga one person, men are the yoga one person. So norm itself is not a good argument, I think. But we have to be able to say why it's wrong or why it's right. In my opinion, it's wrong because baby they could be disabled and therefore their quality of life may be hindered or depleted. So for that reason, it's wrong. But if we can know for sure that the baby's going to be healthy and it's going to be well mentally, physically, everything, then for me, that's not wrong. I think it's fine if people want to do it.
But
now, that doesn't mean we have to force it.
Yeah.
But people should have the choice with whom they seek that companionship, that partner. You know, it should be down to the people. Yeah.
Say what
I'm still baffled. I'm still green because I don't think we should take chances or risks with future generations, and that's been the focal point for me in this conversation. Yeah.
I think I'm still agreeing as well.
Yeah, I still agree that it's wrong because it's just been instilled in me. I'm very, very close to my cousin Zaru, so I could never imagine forging a romantic relationship. To me, that's just very, very abnormal, especially if you're gonna have a kid. So looking from Mukum's point of view, I guess, yeah, if you aren't planning to have kids, fine, go for it.
Yeah, I think she kind of summarized my point too. I think it only becomes wrong for me when you choose to take that risk of having a offspring that could have genetic diseases. But in principle, I don't see anything wrong with incestuous marriages. I think not allowing two people to choose is a direct infringement on their liberty.
Yeah, I mean, I might change to green in the sense that, because of course going forward, and if I'm talking about now, I don't think you should carry on. But if you have already done the deed, then I think you did it under the reasonings I've said. I think it's fine because it was more of a positively way of taking it in. But I don't think it should be carried on forward if you want children.
Now that's a wrap up. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Incest Marriage is wrong. What do you think?